Okay.
We are live.
What's going on, everyone?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oh, cool. YouTube just told me Matty Allen is live.
Nice.
Can you believe it?
Some people say don't drink anything and don't eat because then
This Hexagon anthem sure never gets old. I think it's because it's got so much information in it. Well, a lot of reasons.
Grammy number one. Hey,
So how you feeling tonight, Joe?
Doing good, Matty. How about you?
Feeling good. Yeah, I got in a nice little 4-mile run earlier today.
Nice. Sounds like a lot.
It was the perfect amount.
Yeah. Just past 3.69 miles.
I did, yeah. You know, it's a loop that I do around a lake.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I like meditate a lot when I run, I guess. And so that's where I come up with all my good hex thoughts.
Do you walk there or drive there?
I go from my house.
You just walk over and then we start running?
Like I just start running.
Cool.
All right, we're being hosted by Hexologists. Thank you, Hexo. We love your show. We've been laughing all night, and well, every night, of course.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one chip challenge. It was funny today with Johnny Chaos ate the peppers on Twitter, and then Hexo responded to him. Sent his own little video. That's funny.
So has Hexo announced like when he's going to eat the chip?
Yeah, he just did tonight when we reach a new all-time high.
Ah, okay. How exciting.
Yep. But he just kept saying at the end he didn't specify which new all-time high. So maybe sooner than later if it's just a new share price tomorrow or something, or maybe he's waiting for the actual price per hex.
Yeah. And now how about those FOMO pants that he posted on Twitter? Are those real? I never got an answer.
I think that they probably are. They looked real. I haven't seen a font that has stitching like that inside of it. It was a very great job on Photoshop, if not. I'm sure you can have them made, bring them down.
Yeah, I got a guy, my print shop guy likes Hex, so.
He likes Hex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He commented on the logo.
Nice.
He's like, wow, this is amazing. He's like, is this a crypto I can invest in? I was like, yeah, dude.
You started up, Matty?
Yep, we're live. So welcome, everybody. We will be playing our intro now, which will be delivered perfectly. Let's see here.
I'm clicking the stake. There it goes. Start stake. Boom. I'm all in. I'm in, folks. I'm in.
Welcome, everybody, to Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Matty Allen.
Hey, and I'm Joe Exotic.
So we're excited for an excellent show tonight. We're going to be talking about self-esteem and how that can translate into being nicer to yourself, being nicer to other people, maybe on Twitter, and making a good name for the community, and then we'll explain somehow how that relates to strong hands. But first, we've got a couple of other topics that we'd love to share with you. One of which is giving you the rundown on where we're at with the HEX Changes conference, which is going to be the first annual digital HEX conference. And so we got some exciting announcements to make about that. Isn't that right?
That's right, man. Great job, by the way. You've done an incredible job. I know that how excited I am, and the community seems very excited as well. And even in the chat, the first question I saw is when is the conference? Everybody's asking.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Yeah, let's we're gonna bring up the information that the people are asking for. So we've got, as it says on the screen, hexchanges.com. I forgot to preload that. We're gonna bring that up here on the screen so people can see what it looks like, so they don't go to the wrong website. Let's see. Oh, there's too many people going to it. It's not loading.
Good news. So there's a chat at t.me/hex changes, Maddie, also, I see on the banner.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's where you'll find the link and all the up-to-date information. And that's one of those things. I'm not gonna be blowing people up with too many messages. That's kind of how Richard did a lot of his lists when he was creating HEX. He didn't bomb people with too much information early on.
Guys, the conference is January 6th to January 9th. So keep in mind 369. When you add the 21 together for the year 2021, you get the 3, and then the 6th to the 9th. So January 6th to the 9th to answer everybody's question.
That's right. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is the page that gives you the information about the conference. And as you can see, in the past week, we have added the actual times that it's going to occur at, which is going to be starting. So there are going to be 4 days of the conference: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it's going to be broken into 5 hours worth of content each day. The first hour will be a panel. Then there will be 3 to 6 talks that are 10 to 20 minutes. And then there will be a second panel, and then a keynote, and then a social. And so that'll be the recurring format.
Awesome. I love it, Maddie.
So you can find all the links and all the information here on the website. And we've updated the names of the different types of talks and panels that can be submitted to be judged and included by the hosts, Hexologist, RG3, and myself. It'll be Hex Knowledge, Hex Testimonials, and Hex Open Topics. And then for the keynotes, those will be any topic welcome. The testimonials will be talks only, and the Hex Knowledge will be talks and panels. Hex Open Topics will be talks and panels.
Maddie, when you say judge, you mean you guys, you three, you RG3 and Hexo are going to pick out the submissions, right, that are going to qualify for the conference?
Yeah, so we've had like such an incredible response from the Hex community that we're already certain that it's that we're going to have all the spots filled.
Okay.
And so we're excited to go ahead and share the list of the people who have already signed up to be in the conference.
Maddie, real quick, if I haven't signed up yet, can I still create a submission and still be considered for the conference, or is it full?
Absolutely. There's a whole nother week for
Okay.
people to sign on and to decide what their topic's going to be. And we'll, of course, be working with all the people who have already signed up to make sure that they're going to get topics that match their expertise and that they'll be comfortable and excited to present.
Cool. Are we able to have a live stream that night then? Or are we going to take some time off, you and I?
I'm not sure I understand.
Because we usually go Thursday. So like Hexo will still be able to do his show. We'll take a break. And then I'm sorry that I keep saying because of the chat. So I got a little caught off. So
yeah, that's a great question. So all of the hosts haven't actually decided like what the regular programming will do during this time. So we'll await the decision of Discourse and Hexo and for us, I think since we'll be streaming, we'll be participating in the conference. So I think that'll be our show for the week. Or
awesome.
Maybe we'll pop on and talk about a therapy topic, at a different time. But I've just been so impressed that it's been like 100% of people who have been asked to be in the conference have accepted or been messaging and wanting to be in it. So and one of the big announcements we have to make tonight is that we were able to book Richard Hart for one of the keynotes. So
that's incredible, Maddie. That's awesome.
We didn't have much doubt that he would be involved, but it's official now. So
awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
For that. And
Maddie, are all the submissions HEX related as well, or are there going to be some other topics relative to HEX, but maybe just not specifically HEX?
Yeah. So we're going to leave that up to the community and the people who are submitting to decide what topics they're pitching and they're wanting to include. And then, if somebody's trying to make a talk that says like scam coin, like I want to talk the whole time about scam coin, or like I want to talk about like how bad HEX is or something, those types of talks might not be included.
Okay, cool.
And but so it'll be kind of like what the instructions say with the submission is that people who submit earlier and by the deadline who sign on to the conference will have first preference, and then it'll also be a judge of like quality. And so those will be the factors that determine like who's on the final schedule and when and where and stuff. So so you may see some familiar names here on the list. Maybe some people that you follow and you appreciate, and you're going to be excited to see them at the HEX conference. These are all people who signed on, and now everybody can feel free to study this list. And if you could think of somebody else that you would that could be included, then you could let us know, or you could let them know. And we're really excited to include as many people with quality ideas, right? Because the HEX Changes is meant to be a showcase, kind of like TED Talks, of the best ideas in HEX and the best presentations. And so we'll be making sure to structure that to make sure that everybody's able to give their best performance. So we'll have Richard Hart, Hexologist, RG3, Maddie Allen, Big Pep, Crypto Coffee, Firebun, Kareem, Dollar Cost, Kinetics, Valiant Brand, Serena, Yashdeep, David Feeder, Joe Hexotic, Big Kurkowski, Motley Investor, Nardo for the win, Crypty Girl, Freddie Quotes, Dr. Moore, Cabana Crypto, Crypto Kool-Aid, Johnny Chaos, Randy Hilarski, Nate, is it Nate J?
Nate J, yep. He's
okay,
awesome.
Nate J, who won the multi-million HEX giveaway. The Joker, Crypto Grandma, gives a minute, Patrick Hex Lion, and then, oh, did I lie before? Dev Kyle is, he's interested. He hasn't,
Awesome.
He hasn't made a final decision.
Maddie, you got any band hammers that you want to hand out?
Sure. Which platform?
On DLive. Just
So-
make it a little bit more focused so we could stay focused on the chat.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
Thank you.
great. So we can choose more than one person to be the moderator.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how you do it, but it looks like you made Tobler one, so perfect.
He's been on the show. Yeah.
And Papa Bowen there. I know how to say that, but I like to try to throw in the extra syllables. Cool. Thank you,
Okay.
Maddie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we say a lot, so I'm trying to say it less because of that comment, but it was making me say it a lot more. So, and also detracting from my ability to pay attention to the show. So, I give kudos to the
Right.
guys that get a lot of hate and keep going. It's distracting.
Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Yeah. So we've run through the list of exciting guests that we'll have, people who will be presenting at the conference. We've gone over the schedule.
Awesome. That's
Any
quite
other
a lineup.
questions? Any other questions people have about where we're at with the conference?
I just would like to, recommend to everybody, if you have any ideas and you haven't done this before, send Maddie a submission. And if the sky's the limit, if you can relate it to HEX somehow, it would be great to show the diversity in our community where we're all experts in different areas. And, I'm looking forward to seeing all the people that I know very well in the community because they present a lot and have their own streams or get on other people's streams. And it's a great time also with the panels. And then Maddie, if you can tell me and everybody else maybe a little bit about the hangout portion afterwards at the end, the last part of it. What's it called?
The social.
The social. Yeah, thank you.
So those of you who have been to scientific conferences before, you know that the social is a really critical part. That's an opportunity for you to network with people who have been presenting. And so that's going to be our goal here. We are happy to announce that we will be getting a performance by Freddie Quotes to kick off one of the nights of the socials. And we've got some special themes that will be announced next week for what the social theme will be each night. And TBA as well on exactly how we're going to form the logistics. I was thinking maybe if we just have everybody who's presenting to create their own like Google Hangout or something, then maybe we can get like the most simultaneous people on screen at a time. But we'll get those details to people as they emerge.
Cool. Someone had a question that Old Man Hex, he was asking in the HEXO show that I saw, is there a referral site to send me to people to buy HEX so that I can make some referral money? I know that, I believe you asked that question when Staker app was being talked about. So Staker app has a referral amount coming once their update to their app comes, and it would be a portion of their fee that they charge. So the fee is going to be the same to anybody that uses that portion of the app. And if you make a referral through the Staker app, you will get a portion of that fee. So that's the fee that everybody was talking about. And I believe there's another link to Balliet Brand put it up. Balliet, how's it going? If you can put that up again. HEXref.win, yeah. So
Oh, awesome.
I don't have any familiarity with that, but the question just kept popping up. So I just wanted to answer that real quick, Patty. Thank you.
Thank you to Navi Hexlink, who just donated our first Ninjagini.
Wow. I think RG3
did RG3 do it? Yeah. Well, thank you. Wow.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna have to make more room in our multi-million dollar garage to store all these things.
Right.
Now I do want to make the point of order that if whenever you get somebody to buy into HEX, so you get a referral bonus by the price going up, right? So we actually all get a referral bonus when when we increase adoption, and that's so I'm not sure exactly how this works, and if people are recommending it, then it's probably pretty awesome. But I know that we're all benefiting from onboarding.
And HEX is special, so it's nice to share it with people that you care about. You know, it's a product that we all believe in, and it's changed lives. It's in the process of taking off. So I know that there's a strategy, you know, to make money in the world, and you want to get a piece of everybody's action, but the real reward is sharing this information with somebody, you know, with no expectations of getting anything back. Just like a lot of the people that stream, you know, and give our time to do this. Like there's something about giving away something for free. It's different than making money off of it. So the community thrives because we all share this with people that we care about. And, you know, that's why the bottom isn't falling out of it right now, because it's not a lot of people that don't care about it. After Big Payday came and went, the price is stabilized. Still a good opportunity to get in, but you know, I just highly recommend you sharing it with people that you really care about, and think about that perspective, that don't expect anything in return as far as money, but just watch the world open up to you in a different way when you give it away. Money's nice.
And when we pull people in that we care about, I love that message, Joe. I want to thank you for saying that. When we pull people in who we care about, and we're all amazing people and they're amazing people, then what we're going to end up with is a bunch of people who have locked their money and don't have anything better to do than to create awesome content and to be involved in a community that's not only growing in numbers but also growing in quality. And so I'm always impressed by my fellow Hexicans, their level of knowledge and ability to impress.
And Maddie, the thing maybe I'd like to share again with Old Man Hex, if he's not familiar with our channel, is the money is nice, but what's been beautiful about my time with Hex has been the transformation of, you know, becoming a part of a community. And even like the chat that we have here now, and on Hex Social and Discourse and everybody else, it's, you know, you can't put a price on that. What we have here is special. And I know it's a simple question, and everybody's looking to make a little bit of money wherever they can. I just love you to, you know, get more involved in the community, Old Man Hex, and spend some time on Twitter with us and in the chats, and tell me, you know, what's more important to you, the relationship and fellowship or the money from a referral, and just really consider that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I second that. It's kind of like we all go through our phases of Hex, right? And you know, those are changing a little bit now that there's no like, where did the lemons go? Is the E3 cycled? Like there's none of that anymore, right? But but people will still go through like the regular emotions that you will with any investment or any crypto, where you're so excited and you're learning, right? And what we're finding with HEX, that's an emergent property that we're not seeing necessarily in other cryptos, is people giving back more and taking better care of themselves and having health become a higher priority when you're incentivized to save and send money to yourself in the future. So I know we could talk about that all day, and that'll be a theme we'll keep coming back to. Papa, you said they will have to, adjust the conference schedule so that Richard can speak for 5 hours. I know we love all listening to Richard speak for 5 hours, and we all did the other day. And I think at the same time, like, the idea of the conference here is to compress people's ideas into a certain amount of time. And so I predict that we'll all get to enjoy more streams of Richard, new all-time highs of how long he can go, right? Isn't his record like 6 or 7 or 8 hours?
What are you talking about? How long Richard can go? Because I heard the stream the other night, and now I just got sidetracked, and I came back to hear that. You mean giving a speech at a keynote at the conference, right?
Just outside of the conference, yeah. Well,
nothing to do with pulses, nothing to do with.
I predict that we'll get to keep seeing his awesome super long streams.
Nice. Yeah, with the under cock coming up last night, and what was it? That and pulses. So I just wanted to make sure that, little joke.
Yeah, we will cover sexual health in a different episode of HEX Therapy, coming soon. Don't take that the wrong way. So let's.
So what do you got for a topic for us tonight, Maddie?
People are still asking more questions about the conference, which is great. Thanks for asking these questions. So yeah, I think we are going to be. Somebody's asking about like doing test runs or like dress rehearsals. I think we're gonna do that to the extent that it'll help people be comfortable, especially those who don't stream regularly or don't regularly stream with a green screen. We actually are excited to give you a sneak peek that we are going to have an amazing CGI background created. So it will look like everybody is at the same conference, a beautiful background that is kind of it's kind of a cross between like a conference and like kind of being on set at a news studio. And so
awesome.
We're picking all the custom materials that are going into the chairs and the walls and stuff like that.
Maddie, is it okay to say who designs that?
Yeah, let's just do a special episode where we like talk about how awesome he is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I know he's great for the community.
We should have him on,
that would be awesome.
And do it that way.
Cool. Sounds great.
So great. And let's see, anybody else? So I think I answered that question. We'll be filling people in on the structure of the talks and getting people on the schedule and doing test runs as needed.
And unfortunately, it's not going to be in real life. So, Bisad, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's going to be a digital conference because of COVID. So we're going to start out with that and see where it goes.
I fully expect that this first HEX conference will be annual and that it'll be in real life. in the future.
Awesome.
So that's on the roadmap, right? That's in the white paper. Well, I don't know if it's written anywhere, but
Cool. Sounds good, Matty.
those are types of things that we say in crypto. But it's not going to be an ICO, I hope. Awesome. So we were going to hop over to hex.com and just show off everything that Richard released today before we get into our topic today of self-esteem and strong hands. So cool. Let's see here. We're going to bring that up for you. Did anybody in the chat get excited about all the stuff that Richard released today?
No pun intended. Yeah, so Matty, I took a nap. I was telling you I had a weird nightmare, and I took a little nap before we went on, and you sent me the news that there was, you know, a couple new pages on the hex.com website. So what a way to wake up. It was really cool changes.
Yeah. Let's see. So it looks like there are 2 or 3 brand new sections to the hex.com website. So one section here is testimonials. Look at all these amazing people who are sharing their story of how Hex is changing their life, right? Let's see. Oh, somebody there looks familiar. And a link to your Twitter. Wow.
That's pretty awesome. That's exciting. You know, I love Richard. I love Hex. So to have the website have a link back to my Twitter is very cool. I appreciate that, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And it's such a good clip too. So I haven't watched all these yet. I haven't, I've probably seen half of them just as people have shared them in the past. So
if everybody doesn't know, that's David Feeder, that's Crypty Girl, that's Balliet Brand, it's Conrad Zen. Then you have me.
Is that
actually,
Conrad Zen?
Yeah, that's Conrad Zen. I'm not sure who that is, Matty, the one that you just scrolled by.
Okay.
With the sweatshirt on. Who is that? Philip?
Yeah.
Philip Ho. And then there's one at the bottom, or two more at the bottom. So
okay.
The coolest new page, Matty, is the content page. You got a chance to check that out?
Oh, I saw it.
That's incredible. Congratulations. That's really cool to be on there.
Yeah. I appreciate the shout out here on the hex.com/content page. Matty Allen YouTube, and got a bunch of people on here who a lot of them are, or most of them are going to be on the conference, and so many people making awesome content. Look at all that.
So if you guys would like to help out the community, you know, it'd be great to go to this page and make sure you hit follow on every one of them for the YouTube channels, for DLive. I'm sure everyone's following Hexo and Discourse already, but the rest of the channels are all YouTube channels. And, you know, it goes a long way to support those channels. When there's a new video, if you could put the alert on so that you know, and then you could share that content on Twitter, hit the like button, you know, help grow our community that way. It will help pump our bags. There's no doubt about it.
Yes. Thank you for the call to action. Brand said he just got his green screen today. Awesome.
Awesome, Brand. Congrats on making both pages, Brand, as well. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You deserve it. Great
Absolutely.
Testimonial and great content.
And then we've got, now this is not new as of today. This was released a day or two ago, but this is new since the last time we streamed. And Richard's awesome comparison of Bitcoin versus Hex. I bet you guys can guess which one came out on top. So I know that this is probably covered by other people, or this isn't the topic of our show, but we're excited nonetheless to see this, all the developments. I mean, there's just so much stuff coming out. We're excited. Where are the Germans? They're on there under content.
Yeah, A-Bit was on there, right? Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there in the middle.
Absolutely.
I forget how to say the word. The Starbuck. What is it, Maddie? Do you know how to say it? I forget
I
what
don't
the
know how
word
to
is.
say it.
That's not on there as of right now, but you're right. It should be. They've had some great interviews, especially with Kareem, and my favorite was
Yeah.
Dev Kyle. That was awesome. Kyle is amazing.
Totally.
He has
Yeah.
such a great delivery, with such complex material and his cadence, and I love. That was one of the best 90 minutes. I told you, Maddie, on the phone. That was one of the best 90 minutes of HEX content that I've seen. I put it up in the top 10 hours of absolutely everything I've seen so far. So if you haven't seen that, everybody go check it out. I'll get the link now for everyone.
I watched it twice. 2 thumbs up.
It is Crypto Sparbuck.
Ah, yes.
That was what I couldn't think of. So please, take your time and watch that video. No matter if you're new to HEX or you've been around since day one, you will certainly learn something.
Totally. Yeah. So Dev Kyle is one of the handful of people who coded HEX and wrote the 2,800 lines of code. And so he's very familiar with being able to answer the most complex questions you could have.
And he's got a great way of doing it, very easy to understand.
Yeah.
Water break, Maddie?
This is Red Bull.
That's right.
Red Bull in a mug.
Good man. Cool. So the topic of the day is self-confidence, Maddie?
Self-esteem. That's
Self-esteem.
right.
Self-esteem. Okay. Cool. It's something that I struggle with a lot. So it was cool when you and I were discussing what we could talk about. You had a great idea. It's relevant. I know that a couple people on Twitter have been mentioning, the way to conduct ourselves as a community. Specifically, even today, there was an interaction I had that discussed it. That was something about, the haters fudding, and I'm the first person to want to call them an idiot, and get right into it and kind of demean them and do whatever I can to be a keyboard warrior, and I have to hold myself back, and it doesn't make me feel good afterwards. I'm embarrassed. I'll delete the tweet. It's not me, it's a part of me that's inside. And if somebody pokes me the wrong way, maybe it comes out, but it's certainly no way for me to conduct myself on Twitter. So it's a cool topic. I'm looking forward to, discussing it with you.
Awesome. Yeah. This is not a financial, medical, or therapy advice. This is free speech. Let's start off with that. And but self-esteem is a topic that I talk to my clients about. I talk to friends and family about it as well. I have a whole motivational speech about it. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you lay it on us, let's hear it, Maddie. What do you got?
So I think people are very used to thinking of self-esteem as something that you have or you don't have. But in fact, I believe that self-esteem is something that you do. It's an action verb. And so how do you do self-esteem? The way that you do it is similar to how you would esteem somebody else, by giving them praise, speaking highly of them, giving them a compliment, right? That's what it means. And so when you esteem yourself, what you're doing is you're complimenting, praising, or speaking highly of yourself, right? And so that's instead of being just something that you have or you don't have, it's something that you do, And it's as simple as having a conversation with yourself. And so that would be the same as you would do with anybody else, right? One word at a time. And now another aspect of this. So for example, I recommend people to try giving themselves one compliment a day. And so that's like a homework assignment that I've given to people or recommended, something that I tried out myself, whether it's been by journaling or putting a Post-it note on your mirror or your refrigerator that says, esteem yourself, right? To remind you. Or some people even they ask Siri to or whatever the other version is. Siri, remind me every day to give myself a compliment. And then sure enough, every day at 9 a.m., there she is, reminding you to give yourself a compliment, right? Because in order to have behavior change, we need to trigger that, right? We need to remember to do it, and we need to place it into our routines.
And it kind of sounds cheesy at first when you first get exposed to this. Like if you're from a place where I am, where I haven't had any self-esteem, and I needed somebody else to help me with that. And recently, at one time in my life, I did, and I would go to a group therapy, a lot like this, but with more people and very open and honest. And there's these little tricks that everybody says, and as an egotistical person, a know-it-all, I'm only concerned about the way I look, the money I have, how tough I think I am, how smart I think I am. Why would I slow down to do something so, what I would call stupid at the time? And it's amazing that when I opened up my mind and just gave it a shot, because really, I had hit rock bottom. So I was open to trying anything, and positive self-talk and being honest with myself and holding back from negativity. It goes a long way. Like the first conversation that you and I had, one of them, it was about, be the change in the world that you want to see. And
yes,
it's a powerful quote, and it's a great thought. It's, if I start my day and I wake up and, just like today, if I had a nightmare, like I said, during my nap, and in my first moments of being awake, I got a positive text from you. It could have been a hateful text, but it wasn't. It was something nice, and got me like immediately back into the mood. And my battle every day is doing the next right thing and is staying positive. And so I just want to say to everybody that, if you think that some of this stuff is cheesy, like, it's okay. You can think that, but as somebody who did believe that it was, and then has put some action to it and tried to better myself through just a little bit of positivity at a time, it's amazing what happens when the snowball gets rolling.
Yeah, exactly. And so you've had a lived experience where you engaged in more intentional, mindful, positive self-talk, right? And you were able to see the benefits of that. And I think this is so that's great. I mean, that's great that you're able to give a testimony to it already. To be honest, the omega-3 is what I've found to have the biggest mad gains in mental health from a physical level. And it turns out that the self-esteem aspect, it seems to be what people report gives them the biggest gains from a purely talk-based or a mental level. And so that's why we're sharing it, right? We're giving away all the Easter eggs, and so we're happy to share kind of and walk through how these skills can be incorporated into your daily life to hopefully make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Shadowy Hex Brilliance has some great things to say in the chat, and he was discussing routine, and routine for me is very important. It is who I am. I can easily get thrown out of routine, and it's been great to get back. I'm down staying with my parents for a little while and down south, and it's hard to carry my routine with me. I don't sleep in my own bed. I'm not going to the 12-step meetings where I know everybody. I don't have a church down here. My things are just a little bit different. So the one thing that I have included in my routine, Maddie, is the omega-3s, and I'm just starting today to take the second one. It's only been I think maybe it's been 14 days actually, because we started on a Thursday, so it's been 14 days, and I think that
by second one you mean that you're taking 2 a day now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I was taking one a day every day from 1,200 milligrams up until today. I'll take my second one per day today and continue that until I get up to 3 per day. So I could have gotten up to 3 per day by now, but I've just been taking a little bit slower. And the positive feedback I wanted to give you on that is, once again, I have a lot going on where things are shaking up in my life between my wife and I. I'm not seeing my girls as much as I'd like. It's the holidays. My communication level is not great with my wife at this time. So, I'm in pretty good spirits, all things considered. And I can't say without the baseline being exactly the same that I feel better. I am, however, very surprised at how good I do feel right now and how positive I can be, and so I just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on the omega-3.
Yeah. Well, you're 2 weeks in, and we usually see that people after they're 4 weeks in, they are more sure of the having the aha moment, or kind of having some sort of experience that demonstrates kind of how powerful that is. So I like to make sure people understand how powerful this can be and how life-changing. But I don't like to put words in people's mouths, so I kind of dance around back and forth. But I think time will tell in this case.
Yeah, and a cool just caveat to that all is my mother's here with me, and she wasn't feeling great either at this time of year. It's tough for everybody, and I certainly don't have. I'm not sleeping well, eating well, drinking lots of water, exercising like I should. And my mom and I were discussing depression, and she started taking the omega-3s today's as well. So the omega-369, and we'll see how that goes also. So it's cool that just by a little bit of my action directed in the right manner through a positive outlet, how I can affect somebody that I love as well. And we'll see. I'm hoping that my mom and I can report back some great things. And there's other people in the community reaching out. There's my really good friend Paul, my best friend. Really, he just let me know that he started taking it again. He used to take it before.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. He's been watching the show, and it's awesome to hear. We got people on Twitter taking it. Balliet Brand, I know, is taking it. There's some people that interact with us that are giving us positive feedback on it. Shadowy Hex Brilliance, I know, is a proponent of it, as well as Richard. So
yeah,
it's anything I can do to help my self-esteem, to help my mental health, and I'll try it. It goes back to really just taking care of the basics, though. Like, don't expect anything to work very well if you're not just eating right, sleeping right, drinking water, getting some exercise. Like, really, those are, to me, the baseline, the most important things of the foundation of being healthy. And these are kind of building on that then.
Well, and remember, I have 11,000 hours of experience talking to people about their behavior change and making their lives better. And I see that this is the easiest way for people to get those other behaviors in line.
Oh, awesome.
Is by insulating the electrical wires in the prefrontal cortex. Omega-3 is the material that's used as the electrical insulation in the brain, and so that is the best way to start off with behavior change, in my opinion, and in my experience, because then it makes everything else, all the other behavior changes, easier because you have more prefrontal cortex control.
So they kind of almost work in step, right? Like I want to sleep better, I want to eat better. I start taking omega-3, and like next thing I know, I'm doing both almost, right?
I started taking omega-3, and then it got easier for me to motivate myself. And then my brain was like, oh, I'm going to learn about calories and counting calories. And then I lost 40 pounds. And then after I did that, and that was by diet alone and just understanding, it's not like omega-3 suppressed my appetite. It's omega-3 just like supercharged my brain to be interested in learning about things that I didn't even know I cared about. And,
Right.
and then I tricked myself into liking running and started that habit and getting my cardiovascular system healthier. And then that led to sleeping better because I was getting the exercise that I needed in order to have deeper sleep. And then I ended up doing a lot of other, so that led to like a lot of other things, of course, like when you're sleeping better, then you have better daytime function, you have better emotional regulation, you have better planning, you are just all there. So
Yeah, I can attest to it already. I've had some additional motivation. I've been bringing my dog for, she's a puppy. We've been going for long walks every day. I've been getting back into my routine, trying to create some HEX related content, trying to plan a show, maybe about recovery, just try to do a little bit more, and it was about 7-10 days ago around Thanksgiving where I felt terrible. I was alone and isolated, not making very good decisions, and I had just started taking the omega-3. So like I can certainly attest that my motivation is up.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you, Matty.
Now, so that was kind of refreshing on this idea that we had presented before. And what is that? I think it was like episode 5. My brain is leaking electricity, and how to fix that. And so to go further into today's topic of esteeming yourself, one way that you can make this more automatic and more accessible, other than scheduling it into your life by putting reminders and triggers into your daily routine. Another way that you can accomplish this is by increasing your vocabulary of positive words. So everybody knows the words good and bad, and that's good, right? That we have simple language to describe what we're feeling, or to praise ourselves. But it turns out that vocabulary is something that you build. And so if you want to give yourself better compliments, or more specific compliments, then you can go through this list and other lists of positive traits, and you can practice using some of those words to esteem yourself and other people. So just to demonstrate and model this and practice what we're preaching, Joe, I was hoping we could do an exercise where we could esteem each other and esteem ourselves. I wanted to point out that I think that you are extremely brave for telling your story and wanting to help other people. And so I commend that.
Thank you, Matty. I appreciate that. So just go back and forth with talking about some of the positive traits. Then I've seen lists like this before. What I've done with them is like, in a group setting, I circle 5 of them, you know, and I would then say why I feel that way. So we'll just go back and forth, and I'll pick one now for you.
Sure.
You know, Maddie, I really like you, so I could pick almost any one of these because they're all positive traits, and I could speak on them. A couple that, you know, jump out to me right away. The first one is generous. You know, what you've done for me with your time to help me, and for the HEX community. You know, spending your own money to try to help the ecosystem, to try to get the name out there of HEX. And I mean, every time I talk to you, you know, when we plan for this show, you just amaze me at what you've done in the past week, taking care of your job, your personal life, and then what you're doing for HEX. Like, for example, planning this conference. It's in a great abundance of work that you are doing entirely by yourself, you know, bouncing ideas off me and a few other people that are close to you. But you know, your generosity with your time is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be giving, and I think this is the right place to do it. I will fire back at you with that. I'm not sure if it's on this list, but oh, there it is. I see you as extremely resilient, and I see lots of examples of that in my work, and you amaze me at how resilient you are. You have been through a lot, and you're able to work through that, and you're able to heal yourself and to learn new tools, to utilize, like to gain the support that you need. And so I think that that's really awesome that you have that as a positive trait of resilience.
Thank you, Maddie. A lot of people, you know, a lot of people have told me that through the years. You know, mostly good. I remember my boss one time telling me that I was very resilient and tenacious, and I didn't take it in a very good way. You know, I felt that like that wasn't the most positive thing to hear, but it's you know, it's not easy to just keep going. And I've had my lows that are really low, and I've had my highs that are really high. And you know, I keep going back to the same thing. My routine is important, where my 12-step and God, service to others, is the center point and the focus of my life. I used to make a lot of money and have a, you know, great job, and those things didn't make me happy. I still felt empty. So it was amazing when I really lost everything that, you know, I found God, and I started to help others, and I started to be fulfilled in a manner that I never experienced before. So, you know, thank you for seeing that in me, the resilience in me.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate that. Thank you. Maddie, you are extremely intelligent. You know, the substance of HEX and cryptocurrency is a convoluted, immense, vast area of economics and finance and political, social input, and your understanding of it is unparalleled to me in our community. You know, other than Richard, I don't talk to Richard one-on-one, you know, so in group chats, I can ask him questions, he answers them, and I learn a ridiculous amount of information from him. Why I say you're unparalleled is because I have that personal relationship with you. And, you know, I remember the price dropping before big payday, and had just got my dad into HEX. He bought it at over a penny. You know, he watched me make a lot of money, you know, theoretically so far, because mine was staked, and I had been living in this dream world of, you know, making hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even $1 million this year, based off a fraction of that, you know. And I was really thinking it was going to happen because I'm, you know, I'm egotistical, and, you know, I still battle with that. So I remember when that happened, I called you, you know, the price is going down. What's going on? The OA is staking. Like, what's going on? And immediately there hadn't been a show related to HEX. There hadn't been a Richard tweet, and you broke it down to me exactly why the OA was doing what it was doing, why the price was dumping when it was, why that was important that it happened now. and you helped me through a very volatile emotional time, and were able to take me out of a place where I was concern trolling. As a matter of fact, I remember going into RG3's stream and being like, concern trolling, and I'm embarrassed, but I don't have the intellect that you do regarding this space, and it goes beyond this space as well. But I just wanted to point that out, that your intelligence is bar none one of your best traits.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I see you as very intelligent in the sense that you've only been in crypto for 3.5 months now, and you're already in the best coin, and you're able to explain things to other people. You're able to detect the signal from the noise. And so it's really cool to have somebody else that I can talk to about crypto that cares about it and is so eager to learn. So and I know that like lots of people have commented on kind of our ability to work together on this show. They like our dynamic, and so that's always good to hear.
Is it my turn, Manny?
Well, you just said that I'm intelligent,
and you're just backing it up right back at me with it.
Well, no, that's not mine. I'm just
responding
to all the stuff you said.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm not sure if it's on this list, but I see you as a very like a spiritual and not sure if holy is the right word, but like you're reverent. How about that? So your reverence is something that I admire.
I don't know that word, Manny. I know spiritual. Reverence is not a word I'm familiar with. So I'm intelligent, but not that intelligent.
Reverence means that you have respect for God.
Okay. Yeah, it's new for me also. Not even 3.5 months ago, I couldn't even say the word God. I felt like a fraud. I certainly didn't believe that God was in my life. I didn't believe that, like you and I have discussed before, I thought I was cursed. So that's when I happened to find HEX, the irony in that. And, what a beautiful trip it's been in the past 3.5 months to begin my relationship with God. That, I used to laugh at other people, because a lot of times the people that would say that they, talk about God in front of me, their actions would speak louder than their words. And I would be looking at what they did yesterday as they're preaching the word of God today. And, I get it. It's not easy. And, inviting God into my life and spreading his word and helping others in his name, it's the most rewarding endeavor that I've ever been a part of. It far supersedes, HEX, any friendship I have, any love I've had in my life. It's kind of like the omega-3, what it does to the brain. It's like inviting God into my spirit has enabled every aspect of my life to be more full. So thank you for realizing
that's
that.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. I would say, Maddie, you were an incredible listener. I know that that's your day job, but you do a great job. When you and I are discussing things, I don't ever feel like it's not my time to talk, and you understand what I mean. And, I don't dwell too much on my personal life as far as what's going bad or not the way I'd like to see it. But, when I discuss things with you, you listen, and, you help me digest it. And, then I move on pretty quickly, which is nice. It's not like I revel in misery with you. It's like an upbeat, active listening that's nice. It's important in a friendship, right? To to be
Yeah.
a good listener. So,
Well, thank you. Yeah.
absolutely.
And I know we've gone back and forth 4 or 5 times, and I wanted to kind of bring up another aspect of this, which is that so I think Richard did a great job the other day when he did his live stream. He was pointing out how we can not get wrapped up in trolling or like other people trolling us. I mean, he even made the comment like he likes the ratio of trolling to genuine comments that he gets. He said it's like 80-20, and that's his perfect amount. And
Where 80 of it is trolling, Maddie?
80 of it is genuine.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, wow. Okay.
And so that's different than taking the approach of like, oh, I don't want trolls, right? I don't want anybody to speak ill of me, or I don't want to, and I think that a topic that he talked about that seemed related to me with that concept of not feeding in to people trolling you is he talked about his own confidence in himself and his own comfort level with his ego, right? And how he's not a narcissist, right? And I think that his his explanation of that everybody on the internet is hated, and that people kind of on the internet are taking cheap shots at each other. I think that's definitely what the internet is, right? And so if as a HEX community, if we're wanting to model and build something better than has ever existed before in crypto, in longevity research, in just creating the change that we want to see in the world, I think it's a really interesting option for us to each, kind of make a choice to not speak ill of others on Twitter.
Right.
And this has this exercise of turning another cheek, or being positive towards those who are being negative, is something that it can be a joy if you're in a good place with yourself. Then other people saying things that aren't true or that would otherwise be hurtful, it's a totally different experience. Being able to laugh something off because you're so secure and confident in yourself. And the way to get to that point is to be esteeming yourself. And
say that again, Maddie. It's the what? I broke up for a second.
To esteem yourself is
Okay.
the way to get to a point where people saying untrue, mean things to you doesn't hurt. And so a lot of times when I talk to people about their self-esteem and they're like giving me honest feedback, right? Because like I love it when people tell me like, what you told me didn't work. Like, and then I ask like, okay, like, let's, I'd like to understand that. And so the deeper understanding that I've come to for a lot of people, and even for myself, I practice what I preach, and it occurred to me that if you compliment yourself, sometimes you don't believe it, right? Or if you're esteeming yourself, sometimes it doesn't feel right. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I mean, even recently, just today when the chat started, earlier today on Twitter, I wasn't the most loving when there was, what happens is like I have some issues, clearly. Like I have some anger issues, I have some self-confidence, self-esteem issues, and I try to work through them. But I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. So if things aren't going right with me, I'll keep it inside, bottle it up a little bit, you know, and then I go on Twitter for a release to get away to see what the Hexicans are up to, you know, get some good content. And then I'll see something about like the politicians creating legislation against, you know, cryptocurrency or just anything I don't agree with politically. And maybe then I that's like my outlet for a little bit of hatred, you know, to act kind of like a jackass for a second. You know,
So I'm interested if you've ever tried to compliment yourself and it didn't land. Like you were in a certain mood where like even if somebody said something nice to you or you said something nice to yourself, you wouldn't have believed it.
I don't know if I've ever consciously tried that, Maddie. Like,
okay, so that's something that happens when people do this exercise. Not to everybody, but for some people, the exercise of esteeming yourself doesn't work because they hold negative beliefs about themselves, right? And when we hold negative beliefs about ourselves, then it can be a barrier to esteeming yourself, and it can, you know, it can be painful and it can ruin the therapy exercise we're supposed to be doing. And so this, even for some people, is a subconscious thing that people have subconscious beliefs, negative beliefs about themselves that that it cause them to not fully participate in the esteeming behaviors, or to have, or that's what generates their negative mood, right? And so that's an area, of course, as like a scientist practitioner, I'm like super interested in, right? Like a situation where something doesn't work, or where there's a more complicated mechanism going on, right? And that's, I think, the most interesting part of psychology is like the mechanisms of change, and that's how you know that you really understand a behavior or a psychological factor, is you can change it, and you can do it tactically, you know, like with precision and everything. And so so the omega-3 is an example of that, but the self-esteem also is an example of that, where so there's this this way that I explain it. So so we know that there are these negative self-beliefs because we can actually change them. And so there's a technique that I recommend to people, or that I've come up with, that that allows you to change your negative self-beliefs. And so that method is what I call walking the walk and talking the talk at the same time. Okay, so the talking the talk part is esteeming yourself, right? We've covered that already. Esteeming yourself means giving yourself one compliment a day or more, right? And again, to review, the problem with that is sometimes you don't believe yourself that you're really wonderful and awesome, right? That you have value as a person, that you deserve good things, right? And then that it can't translate into behavior if you don't believe that. So the next step, which is walking the walk, that means it's taking care of yourself, also called self-care, right? And so self-care activities, in my opinion, are anything that you do mindfully to take care of yourself. So brushing your teeth is a self-care activity, but the problem is you don't always recognize it as such, right? And depending on what level of like depression or like negativity you're in, and like what level of self-care you have, right? Like self-care, like stepping up your self-care might be vastly different for different people. For some people, it's going to be brushing their teeth, or like, you know, feeding themselves, right? And for other people, it's going to be like a more advanced skill, or something that's not as close to like your basic needs. but I think that so if we take the example, you know, of like of brushing your teeth, then, or we could, so I mean, having a list of healthy behaviors and self-care activities is helpful. And so some people, like, you know, they would get a new style, they get a new haircut, or they would put on makeup, or they would cook their favorite meal for themselves, right? They would whatever it is, you know, light some candles, do something soothing. For me, I relax if I take a hot shower, right? Like, so if I'm doing these things mindlessly, then it's not self-care. It's in the sense that I'm talking about. It's not walking the walk. So the most powerful thing that you can do is to do the self-care while you're doing the self-esteem. So you brush your teeth and you tell yourself, like, I deserve to have clean teeth, right? And to get the bacteria out of my mouth, because I'm a valuable person, right? And because I deserve to be loved, taken care of. I deserve to have clean teeth. And even it turns out, even if you don't believe that you deserve to be taken care of, if you are doing it at the same time you're telling yourself what you believe to be a lie, that you deserve that to feel better and to be taken care of, you will start to believe it because the proof is in front of you, right? You see yourself taking care of yourself, you see yourself esteeming yourself, and when you do those things at the same time, it has the power to break up the negative beliefs that you have, because you're proving those beliefs wrong. Your belief is that you aren't an important, special, awesome person. And so when you give yourself evidence to the contrary, that is how the beliefs change. And that's what we see. That's how we know that's a mechanism, is because people have tried this and it's worked.
Wow, it sounds amazing, Maddie. I mean, I'm glad to be where I am, to know that I could benefit from trying something like this, because I know, you know, like I said earlier, not too long ago, I might think that sounds ridiculous, but its premise is something I want to try. You know, I want to give it a shot. I know I call it my routine all the time, but really what it is self-care. If I'm self-care is a great topic. You know, it's something that comes up in my 12-step program, and it's so important for sobriety, for sanity, you know, and I've never had anybody say to do that before. I know about self-affirmations and you know, positive talk and doing the next right thing, and all of those things are great and they work. And then I know about self-care and exercise, and just never thought about putting the two together. So I just respect your merit, your where you come from, and I'm going to give it a shot. You know, it's cool. I've never heard of that. So
yeah, it's the combination that really makes a difference. And to be completely honest, you know, even as somebody who teaches this, and has practiced in the past, by the nature of mindfulness itself, it's something that we slip out of. And so this is something that even for myself, having taught this for a number of years, I still have to remind myself to do it. And it sometimes it's automatic, but most of the time it's not, right? Because when our minds are on autopilot, that's when we're not being mindful, right? And being mindful means being in the present moment, right? And there's lots of types of mindfulness, but the type that we're talking about is focusing your attention on, oh, look at me, like I'm going for a jog, and that's how I take care of myself, and that's because I'm worth it, right? So if I don't have that conversation with myself, then I'm not being mindful and unlocking this mind hack to have a healthier existence.
So I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I can incorporate God and use God loves me. So that's why I'm going for this run, because God wants me to be healthy, because what I don't lack is an ego, and I can seesaw all the way up to the highest self-esteem in the world, and it's just like temporary and almost fake for a little while, because I don't know how I get so full of myself and egotistical. So my concern when I heard you saying this is like I'm almost feeding that beast inside me to like tell me all these self affirmations about like things that are positive, because I've struggled in the past with being too full of myself, too egotistical, having too much self esteem to a fault. And I'm just thinking maybe I could take these tenets that you just said and then incorporate God, and that way it's cutting me out of it. It's still positive.
I would encourage you to try it this way first.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's it's a psychological deflection, and
Okay.
you can add you'll always have God like involved in your thinking and your behaviors and in your understanding of the world. But what I see is that people oftentimes make excuses for why they wouldn't do the self-care, or would kind of not say the words to themselves about themselves. And so it's really you've got your id, your ego, and your super ego, right? And some of that stuff is maybe true and some of it isn't. But the idea is that like part of your mind, part of your mind where you're thinking it's like you're being egotistical is really it's overcompensating for the insecurities that you have, and so that's just like, that's a dynamic that like could exist in anybody. I'm not specifically talking about you, right? But the idea of like the ego is that it's a protective force that doesn't always have to rely on reality. And so when you do what I'm talking about, which is having a deeper, basically you're creating evidence in real time for yourself that you're awesome, even if you don't believe that. And so to say God is awesome and that's why I'm doing this that's a different activity, I think.
Okay, I was gonna say more like God thinks I'm awesome. Not. I wasn't gonna give the praise to God. I was gonna give the praise to myself, but through the eyes of God. But I do hear what you're saying, and I do also struggle with a rut. Being in a rut with not taking a shower for a day, maybe even 2 days, maybe even 3 days if things aren't going very good. And eating terribly during that time, and then justifying it because I'm not worth it anyways for any gamut of reasons. So I can certainly relate to what you're saying. I'll give it a shot as you recommended. I just wanted to clarify that I will, basically. I think you understand what I mean, right? I was just trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be great for you to practice following these techniques different ways and coming up with what's right for you. And the way that you're kind of integrating this with what you already know, and the way that you're customizing it for yourself, I think is helping all of us understand better what is the actual mechanism of change, right? Because this is something that I discovered, right? This isn't something that I read in a book. This isn't something that I knew myself. It's something that was discovered by talking to people for many, many, many thousands of hours, and listening to them closely, and having the type of relationship with people where they could question what I was saying, or where they could push me to take it to a deeper level. And so this idea of walking the walk and talking the talk at the same time, which means esteeming yourself and practicing self-care at the same time, and linking those two things. The reason why I'm making myself my favorite meal is because I deserve it, because I'm worthy of self-care, right? And whether, right, like telling yourself that you're awesome, that is a healthy behavior, which is great on its own. Taking care of yourself, healthy behavior, great on its own. When you combine these things, that's where the magic is for changing the negative subconscious beliefs.
Okay. Looking forward to trying it. I'll
Cool.
I guess there's no reason for me to be worried about my ego. I mean, I'm going into this wholeheartedly, and I believe in your experience and your ability to help me in particular. So I guess if if I'm going for a walk tomorrow with my puppy, and
Yes.
I'm doing it because it's something I need to do. It's great for my puppy. Trying to train her on the leash, and get her some exercise, and also just be a little active myself. So then, while I'm doing that, I could just maybe say to myself a couple times that, hey, Joe, you deserve to be out in this beautiful weather. You deserve to be breathing this beautiful
Yes.
air. You deserve to
Yes.
be moving your muscles. You're worthy of taking care of yourself, of your body.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent. I mean, excellent job. Normally I have to prompt people to have them practice so that I know that they understood the exercise, and you've done that yourself unprompted. So
Cool.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Practicing that and making it concrete for everybody.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I struggle with self-esteem, and it's weird. It's like all of a sudden one day I have it and one day I don't. And like you said, it's an action. So that makes a lot of sense. Some days I'm putting action to my life, and other days I'm not. It's the days that I'm not that I feel like I don't have any, when really I'm not doing any.
Yeah. And to draw this back into HEX, like the healthier that our community is, the longer that we live, the better we take care of ourselves, the more highly we speak to ourselves, to others, to people outside of our community that are talking smack, the more we will be representing our community more, the more people will want to join our community, the more it'll pump our bags, the more we will be able to live longer and get extra 15-year stakes out of everybody. And so the HEX is incredible because it incentivizes people to have healthy behaviors, right? To not only to save for the future, but once you've done that, now you're stuck taking care of yourself. Should have read the fine print in hextherapy.live about what this was going to do, right? Now you're stuck taking care of yourself better. Awesome, right?
Who would have known?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about programming health and mental health into money, and smarter money, smarter you. And we're excited about also taking this many levels further. And so right now in the show, we are giving you ideas by sharing our own experiences with changing our behaviors to be healthier. And in the future, we might even have more advanced ways for you to improve your health, for example, by paying yourself to keep a promise to yourself other than just how long you're locking your HEX. Maybe you pay yourself to go to the gym, right? Or you pay yourself to eat healthier, or whatever it is. And we're excited that everybody's interested in hearing about that. I think this is the most exciting thing in crypto, is paying yourself to be healthier. And HEX has a built-in function of that, which is time locking your money. And now we're excited to be talking about brainstorming, think tanking, right? And testing out and developing ways for people to do this more intentionally than just the ways that are built into HEX. So exciting. It's so exciting. This is the reason this is mainly the reason why I'm in crypto. Everybody's not opposed to making money and everything. I'm no exception to that, but I am the most excited, not just about watching the chart, because the chart goes up based on what other people do, right? As a spectator, we don't have any control over prices. But when we're building things, when we're creating community, and when we're coming up with new functions for programmable money, that's the dream. So thank you guys for the donations. Diamond from Levin Hex.
Thank you, 1 million Hex. You commented on the smile. I appreciate it. I have a lot of fun with you guys in the chat. You know, Maddie, I struggled tonight. It threw me off just to have somebody be negative in the chat. It was the first time somebody's did that. You know,
somebody was negative.
Yes, somebody was negative. Balloon Knot right now. If you could block him also, please.
Moderator. Thank you. I feel bad for them, and I wish them the best. You know, I think like you know, we've all been there where we were not feeling the best, or we were saying things that maybe were hurtful to other people, but I think that the more that we can think deeply about this idea of it's fine to block people, right? Because we don't want, because moods are contagious, right?
Yeah, it was terribly distracting.
Yeah,
you know?
And so for the sanity of the people who are reading the comments, we don't want language that is meant to be hurtful and distracting, so that's a thing.
So even as I was just saying that, you know, somebody else joined it. I should have known by the name Balloon Knot. I saw as soon as he followed, I almost wanted to say something, but it's funny that that person ended up being hateful. You know, I've been there before. You know, when I was younger, I would get on MySpace at the time or Facebook, and back when I was an alcoholic, God, I made an embarrassment of myself many times as me. You know, and now with being able to hide under a screen name with an avatar and disrupt a community. You know, Richard doesn't have moderators that I've seen, and I mentioned it to him the other day. Like, if you need a moderator, holler. I'm be more than happy to help. And
he got him.
He did.
He got him now. Yeah, okay, it was like 4 to 5 hours into his live stream. I think I wasn't watching the chat. I was getting groceries and still listening closely, and I heard a bunch of familiar names of him calling out. Awesome. I think people in the chat had said, "Oh no, like, you know, there's some there's some unhelpful things here," and so he modded I think Bran and Serena and a couple other people I recognize.
Nice. Yeah, you know what it is? It's jarring. Like, we have a great community, and if someone just comes in here and says something hateful about race or about intelligence, or just, you know, criticizing the particular areas of you or I, like, my first thought is violent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, when I read something and it's directed towards me, I'm like, I talk like an asshole to myself. Excuse me. You know, I talk like this. The guy would not be talking like this if he was right here. And I'm glad to be able to process with you, Maddie, because I don't like even feeling like that. You know, I don't even like the way that I responded tonight on our chat to that gentleman. You know, it's just it's a side of me that I want to, like. Yeah. It's just an unevolved, unwise, infantile side. you know, and
Yeah.
it's something I struggle with. So I'm happy to be able to discuss this in real time with you, you know, and to for you to maybe see like that. I asked you some stupid question about the conference, about us like still being online when the conference goes on. It's because I couldn't be in both places at once, and I felt like it was my time to talk, and I wanted to ask you a question about the conference, but I had nothing to say.
That
So
was a good
like,
question.
yeah, yeah, but it was like, it was just, you know, I wasn't thinking. It took my ability to be present away. In my anger, I couldn't really hide it. You know, it's like, it's hard. Like
If you were thinking
RG3,
it, other people were thinking it, and I know I know that's true because other people have been asking that, right? And so I hear I hear what you're saying, that that's an example of something that kind of upset you, um, because you didn't like how it sounded, or you were kind of like on the spot, and but I think that your experience of that was different than like the outward experience, or kind of how at least I experienced it was, that it was a worthwhile question, and
okay,
something
cool.
that, you know, added to the discussion. And that's something that happens, right? Like we so some people like were our own worst critic, and it's a balance that we want to have, right? With being realistic with ourselves, and like being in touch with reality. Like I know on our last stream, I did not feel the best about how the Facebook DM discussion went. I'm not sure why. It seems like I um, it didn't flow to me the same way that other topics have, and but then I was listening to some other stream, or the Discourse Syndicate, and somebody came on and said, oh, they loved that part, and that's the
Yeah,
only part
right.
that they caught. And
Me and
I was
Jay.
like, wow, I thought that was a train wreck, and the rest of it was good,
Yeah.
but it's like, so for me, yeah, it was I was being maybe too critical, or I wasn't really imagining correctly how other people were seeing it as better than I thought it was, or maybe it was terrible and somebody was just telling me it was okay, like randomly. I'm not sure, but like, but it's um, that's
I think
part of,
it,
so that's part of our relationship with ourselves, right? Is like how we evaluate ourselves, and how critical we are, and critically negative of ourselves, right? Our negative self-talk. And so one question is how can we change those conversations with ourselves to be more constructive, right? But without getting too lost in like the minutia, or like with me being excited by your example, and you know, offering a follow-up one. There's one thing I wanted to point out, if that's okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Is that it's very unexpected to the end user what self-esteem will do for you, and in a positive way. And I've seen this, and I didn't necessarily predict it. I've seen it in a lot of people where they fixed the relationship with themselves that they had, their own relationship with themselves, and boom, all of their relationships got better with other people. And it's like they cut out toxic people, and they made amends, and they rebuilt trust that had been lost, and they're feeling better about themselves. So now they're attracting healthier people into their lives who they didn't even know existed. They didn't know that there were positive people in the world, because they got into a negative echo chamber, and they surrounded themselves with negative people, or you know, people who are not taking care of themselves. And so it's been really cool to see how surprised people are. And so with the self-esteeming and self-care. And so I wonder if that will be something that you notice as well, and that we all notice, right? Because I'm wanting to I'm wanting to benefit from these things just as much as everybody else.
Right. I haven't worked on myself where myself was the target of the good work. In my work through the Bible study and joining a church and working with a pastor, and then my fellowship that I have with the 12-step program, like those are full of positive people that have taken care of themselves, that do talk positively of themselves. So it would be ideal if I could focus on myself and give that a shot, and put that same amount of effort and love into caring about myself.
Yeah, totally.
It'd be cool. We'll see what happens.
It's these unexpected positive side effects and mad gains across all relationships that's so cool. And it kind of led me to when I teach my healthy relationships class, I always start off by pitching people the idea that if you want to have a healthier relationship with other people, first you need to have a healthier relationship with yourself. And so that's one of the takeaways that that is worthwhile to keep coming back to when it comes to what are these things? What are these mechanisms of change psychologically that help people the most? One of the reasons I'm live streaming and planning shows and involved in the space and taking lots of time off work to do so and volunteer my time is because I want to reach a larger audience than I have been able to working with people one-on-one and in small groups. I've been blessed and honored to be able to help many people over the years that I've practiced, but being able to make videos, Joe, with you and with the community is a chance to potentially be recording material that hundreds of people or thousands of people are able to benefit from. And so I'm being very I'm trying to be very tactical in what I share and the things that I share first and come back to that have been the most helpful to people in real life, and that are good places to start. And I've found no better places to start than the omega-3 and the self-esteem.
I think it's two great places. I can attest already to the omega-3, and I like the idea of the self-esteem, self-talk, while also walking the walk. So I'm glad you have a plan and you're laying it out there. It's cool to, I appreciate it, Maddie. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. And to anybody who is taking the omega-3, remember, you don't want to take that if you're on a blood thinner, and you always want to talk to your doctor before you make any changes. Omega-3 is considered safer than most things you can buy because it's supposed to be in your food. And so that's why it's not medical advice, what we're saying here. And we're not telling you what to do. But it's just, it turns out that making your blood a little bit thinner is good for most people. But if you're already on a major blood thinner, then you wouldn't want to take it. I always started out with taking 1,000 milligrams of omega-3, 6-9 per day with food. And that for the first week. And then the second week, take 2,000 milligrams. And now I've been taking it for a number of years, 3 or 4 years, maybe 4.5. And so I settled in the middle. I take 1,600 milligrams a day. And
Maddie, if I weigh 225 pounds, is 3,000 milligrams all set, you think? Because I'm a little bit on the heavier side, bigger side.
I think your brain is still
Still the same size.
similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Because right, some things are like, yeah, it's different compounds and different materials that you put into your body are like absorbed and like have a different mechanism of action than others, right? Like if you were maybe, let's say if you're somebody who's taking an antidepressant, they might get a dose that's specific to their body weight,
Right.
versus kind of one of these building blocks and everything.
Cool. So I can maybe cap it out at 1,200 per day at 2,400 milligrams, and that's plenty. Right?
Yeah. So like Mayo Clinic says, like, don't go over like 4,000 milligrams per day. Don't go over 3,000 milligrams per day. Like, and so depending on your diet, if all you eat is fish all day, every day, you're already getting enough omega-3, according to them. And so it just depends on people's individual diets, and do your own research, right? Always good things to say.
Awesome.
So I hope that these things are going to be helpful for people, and we would love to hear if any of the things that we are doing in our lives are things that you're doing that you find helpful. And one of the places we love to hear about that is on Twitter, because there's this whole thing called crypto Twitter, and it's this let's go ahead and coin the phrase like HEX Twitter, right? HT is where we're all just the algorithms are giving us each other's tweets, and because that's what we like, and that's another way that we can spread the word about programming mental health into money, and creating a community that is taking care of ourselves and taking care of others. Yeah, so and some people prefer, rather than to take the gel capsules of omega-3, some people like simply using chia seeds, which are what the ancient warriors used to use, because they're high in energy, high in omega-3, and have antioxidant properties. I haven't messed with chia seeds myself, but I know that some people like that.
Yeah, my mom, now that I'm staying here with my parents for a little while, they have my mom eats a toast in the morning. It's a multi-grain toast. It's absolutely delicious. It has like packed with all different kinds of wonderful, delicious seeds. And I was skeptical at first, but I love it. It's delicious. So, I mean, I don't think that's health or financial advice, but if you want to go out and pick up this like packed multi-grain bread for toast and give it a shot, it's a good way to get involved. So also regarding Twitter, Maddie, like if you're into anything else, like let some people know in the HEX community, post a tweet of something else every once in a while, because it's cool to see what I have in common with people, above and beyond HEX. So, Maddie's a runner, and he put out a challenge before for someone else to hold him accountable in the community, and tweeted about it. And, now those two guys know that they have running in common. So please keep the HEX content coming, but it's really like the only community that I'm a part of, and I only follow Hexicans. So, I'd be interested just to see what everybody else is doing. Like, that's why I love Nardo for the win, because he's always putting up some different stuff, about his work, his job, and what he's doing on the weekends. And so I just kind of wanted to, push everybody to show a little bit of your personal side as well, if you can, if you're comfortable with it.
I just saw Nate J is in the chat.
What's up, Nate?
Cool. We were talking about him earlier, being one of the people in the conference. And somebody else asked, like, what has good anti-inflammatory properties? And I think it was a couple weeks ago on the show, we talked about how I take What do I take?
What is it? I know you take B1, but for anti-inflammatory. Let me think. I know it. It's
Yeah, I know. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, I thought you were just testing me.
No.
It's it's a spice.
Yeah.
Tamarind?
Okay, I got it.
Is it tamarind?
Turmeric curcumin.
Turmeric.
1950 milligrams.
Okay.
It's a high dose of that. And I take that from time to time. I don't take it every day. Take it as needed, and that's so that along with resveratrol are life extension supplements.
Maddie, I love trivia, so that was a nice little Maddie Allen trivia I thought was
happening. Nice.
There. What is it that I take for inflammation? Cool. There's a lot of other things too, guys. I know there's a question in the chat about kratom. You know, Maddie has personal experience with turmeric, and I don't think we're going to recommend anything really beyond that. I know that I have a lot of experience with kratom and other anti-inflammatories as well, but if it has any sort of mind-altering effect, I don't think that that's the first thing to go to, in my opinion. So, you know, I don't think either one of us, I don't mean to speak for Maddie, but I just can't imagine any one of us really recommending anything mind-altering for the body. You know, if you have some mind issues, I do have some different thoughts on psilocybin, but you know, we've discussed it before, both of them. So I didn't want to skip over your question.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, Richard gave his opinion, you know, yesterday of like, or when was that yesterday or the day before?
It feels like yesterday, but it could have been the day before. I've been sleeping weird.
Yeah, it was Tuesday, and so he, you know, he said what's right for him, and everybody's gonna have, you know, their own struggles and their own strengths, and you know, Richard said that he doesn't trip on psychedelics, and because he doesn't want to risk the downside, and I think that there's some interesting research going on with some of that stuff. And like that is not a reason to rush to do it recreationally in high doses, especially when the research that's being done is in ultra low doses and under certain conditions for certain disorders that that are going to respond differently to different things, right? And so I was telling somebody the other day that like how much I like convulsive therapy, the shock therapy for treatment-resistant depression, more than using like ecstasy or something, because I can tell you why it works. I can tell you why electrocuting somebody in the brain fixes their depression is because the ion channels in the neurons need to be reset. And normally your brain does this when you sleep, and at other times to where, you know, it can be exactly -65 microvolts holding its charge in the neuron, so that when enough neurotransmitters build up on that synaptic cleft, then the neuron can fire its charge that it's holding down the axon, and then it can release more neurotransmitters that make the next neuron fire. And this is how our bodies and brains work, to have electrical to chemical to electrical to chemical signals. This is why if you have a good neuroscience teacher and they bring somebody up to the front of the room and they say, here's $100 bill, and I'm going to put it in between your fingers, and all you have to do is close your fingers and grab it, and then you get to keep the money, and they can tell the person to go, but the person misses it because there are too many, there's like 3 or 4 connections between their brain and their fingers. And so it's when done correctly, it's a very interesting proof, a demonstration that this is the case, that that your body's wired this way. But when they mess up the demonstration, then they just lose money. And but it's so that's one of the reasons why electroshock therapy works for depression, is because because in treatment resistant depression, it turns out that in a lot of those cases, those charges don't reset. And so you've got tons of neurons in the brain. You got tons of brain cells that can't reset. They can't get their charge back. They're stuck with the wrong amount of charge, and then that makes it so all the neurons that they're connected to don't work properly. And that makes a lot of sense in depression, right? Because depression is a state where there's a lack of energy, right? And there's lack of mental energy, lack of physical energy, and probably exercise and good sleep are things that keep those ion channels that cause the neuron to fire, keep those healthy, and keep the right amount of sodium built up inside the cell in order to allow it to have a charge to fire. So it's down at the cellular level. There are reasons why this is probably preferable than using a drug that maybe like you have a good experience with, but we know that ecstasy in like regular doses burns out serotonin receptors and makes it so that the person ends up with worse depression in the long run. So
yeah, and even in extreme high doses, you can get I forget what it's called, but basically the serotonin stays pooled in your brain and you don't function properly for days, if not a week. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's a hell. I try to stay away from anything now because I have drug-seeking behavior. When I hear that you can take MDMA or ketamine, which is Spravato, the nasal treatment, when I was in treatment for mental health and in a group in a adult partial hospitalization program, an APHP, they recommended the treatment that Maddie is discussing with me right now. And my alternative,
which one?
The electroconvulsive shock therapy. Okay. And instead of doing that, I wanted to go take Spravato, ketamine, because it's my favorite drug, and it had just been released by the FDA. There was a practitioner in the state that I lived, and I made the drug-seeking behavior choice to go take this mind-altering substance that it worked for what it was supposed to do, but it also caused some side effects, which I had to deal with those as well. So I can say, just from my personal experience, I'm hesitant with anything mind-altering. And even under a doctor's care, like if you've exhausted everything else, all the natural methodologies, and you've tried omega-3 and you get good sleep and things like that, then, and you still can't knock it, I'm not a doctor and I can't give you medical advice, but in my experience, I have gone through it all from everything that I can think of that's a legal treatment. And the thing that I skipped over is what Maddie's talking about, and I just feel foolish now that I didn't try something like that, because it makes
everybody
so much
skips
sense.
it because it's so scary. They need to get better marketing for that.
Yeah,
they need to call it something better.
My grandmother used to take, and she, it was back. This was like 75 years ago. It was actually my great grandmother, and they didn't have it all locked down. If anyone has seen the movie The Return to Oz with Dorothy, where she goes back to Oz and they give her, that electroconvulsive shock therapy, and they put these big things on and hook her up to a gigantic radio, and, they shock her. Like, my experience with that is kind of limited, and my perception of it was scary and intrusive. But then I talked to somebody that's actually had it, and it's nothing like what it used to be. So I just feel foolish that I made the decision to take, ketamine instead. 1 million hexes, ketamine is very beneficial. It is. It can fix certain ailments. It also caused me to have quite a terrible event in my life that I share a lot, but this event was pretty brutal and something I won't talk about very often. So ketamine was a part of it. Given to me at a doctor's office, prescribed, paid for by my state insurance because I was under short-term disability leave for my Fortune 500 job. So, what seems safe on the outside, and ketamine is as a drug seeking person, as a drug addict, as somebody that enjoys recreational drugs, ketamine is my favorite drug. So I am hesitant to say to anybody, even in my family, to go try ketamine therapy or ketamine treatment. It's not something that, as a advocate, a former advocate, aficionado of drugs, and someone who's had it professionally administered, both intravenously and with a spray. It's got its own set of dangers, So just no medical advice from my personal experience. It's a wild endeavor, So just be careful. Don't listen to everybody. And if you have a little bit of drug seeking behavior yourself, and you think that microdosing is good for you, or maybe you want to go have your state insurance pay for ketamine or MDMA, take it from me. If you want to try to learn through me, bad things can still happen. And I can never be a proponent of ketamine as much as my drug addict self loves it. So.
Yeah. So we look for usually we look for interventions that are like the least harmful, right? It's not like you want to use high risk, high reward if there are other things that are low risk, high reward. And
Right.
And so that's part of like what we're discussing here, is just like using free speech to say like, oh, like shock therapy, like, it's got bad marketing, and it's like, there's a cellular reason why that helps. And when it comes to substances, we know that like things generally are more dangerous when they build a tolerance. Things are more dangerous when they release high amounts of dopamine, and when they cause cravings or other compulsive behaviors. And so, for example, CBD is thought by the World Health Organization to not cause tolerance. And I don't want to spend a bunch of time talking about weed or stuff like that, but I'm just giving a quick example of like, something that, okay, so that doesn't, but like THC does build a tolerance. And so people have different opinions and different attitudes about whether THC is addictive or not. But if we dive into like what is the definition of addiction, like medically speaking, the definition of addiction is building tolerance, interfering with your daily functioning, like having the mental component of craving and loss of control and stuff. So so the more things that we can avoid with all that, right, like the better. And so that's why it's helpful to like consider that there are like these behavioral, like the topic we're talking about tonight, right? It's like
Right.
how to help your depression by complimenting yourself, right? How to even more than just like depression, right? Like because this isn't therapy, we're not talking about treatments. We're saying, how can you live your best life, right? And this is something where Joe and I are trying it out. We are using free speech about like our own experiences. We're excited to hear what other people are trying, and so that's really the exciting part, is that we have a community here who has a common goal of living long enough to enjoy our sweet rewards and mad gains. And if we have to learn how to be kinder to people who talk talk smack on Twitter, and if we have to learn how to eat healthier and exercise along the way, well, you know, that's our right to you know, I don't think the government is going to have a problem with us taking care of ourselves, as long as we keep reminding you that that this is you know, you're not in the doctor's office, and you better go there if you know, if you want to do your own research and have somebody responsible for your choices. But for us, it's that we're Joe and I are able, like, we're lucky to have an audience that like is willing to listen to our experiences of how we can try to model good behavior and practice what we preach. And you know, we're hoping that you all can do the same, right? Like, we're hoping that, like, if you find something that works for you, you know, like how you change your behavior to live your best life, like, we're hoping that you won't keep that a secret and that you'll share that with people. It seems like one of the things we all have in common is, like, HEX is one of the ways that, with the community and with the token itself, you know, how we're making these commitments to ourselves, how we're practicing, like, being more honest with ourselves, but, like, you know, and then holding ourselves to what we promise. And that's, you know, we're going to keep talking about how powerful it can be to have that experience where you're stuck keeping a promise to yourself, and, you know, someday that's going to feel really good. It's not going to feel good now, though. That's why you need HEX therapy, because sending your money in the future 15 years is a horrible feeling. Believe me, I've done it many times, and it doesn't feel good, right? And now I'm bored, right? Because I don't have anything to do, because I'm not engaging in these, like, unhealthy, like, trading behaviors. And you know, so why not make the best of the time we have and the community that we have, and all the ways that we're blessed, and help each other to understand, like, the emotions that we'll go through by delaying gratification. Horrible feeling, right? At the beginning, and then at the end, wonderful feeling, right?
Very well said, Matty. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a side effect of the staker class of HEX in our community is taking better care of our health, you know, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, is spend some time in our community, share our experience, like Matty very well put. You know, and I'm thankful for everybody that's here tonight and enjoying our content, and, you know, we'll keep making it, you know, and I encourage everyone else, if you're on the fence, give it a shot. There's not too much HEX content yet. There's not. So, you know, give it a shot, guys. And thanks for spending it tonight with us.
Yeah. Thanks to Hexo for hosting.
Yeah.
We really appreciate him. And there's so many people in the HEX community who have, like, given us a chance, right, to make our content. And so we're grateful to you all. I wanted to shout out to Funding Jim. I was, like, doing some research, like, you know, a couple months back in the HEX chat, and I saw that he had been posting some of the HEX cameos and helping people to find me. And so thank you to Funding Jim, and to Hexologists, and to Richard, and everybody, all of you who are watching are you're allowing us to be able to have this awesome experience of sharing our thoughts and ideas.
And if just to close up, if you're not currently following the channel, please follow the channel so you'll get some notice when we go on. We do come on Thursdays after HEXO, but we've been known to come on other days as well, and especially with the holidays, you know, coming up, New Year's Eve, Christmas, and then we have the big event. So January 6th to 9th, you know, please follow Matty Allen on Twitter. I'm sure you are already, but if you're not, it's Matty Allen, right, on Twitter?
Yes.
And then I am Hexotic Joe on Twitter. I'll put my link in the chat. And if you guys can,
Perfect.
follow me, let me know you're a Hexican. If I can't see it in your profile picture or by your, your bio, then I'm not going to know. Of course, if I recognize your name, but I like spending a lot of time in this community. I like to wake up and see what's going on, and I like to go to bed and do the same. So thank you, everybody. It's been a great night. Thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah. So we appreciate you all, and we're getting ready to sign off here ourselves. We put our application in for being the next level on DLive, and we're not gonna say anything bad about DLive, because that is how we will get our next level, is by being patient and waiting our turn while they review all the other applications. And thank you guys for following. If you're not following and you start following us, that'll increase our number and allow DLive to take notice of us more. And then that'll once they approve the application that we have in, then that'll allow us to host other channels. And right now, as a beginner channel, they don't let everybody do that. So we'll be excited to be able to host other channels. Now, in the tradition of those that came before us and who continue to stream in HEX, we would love to do a raid, which means when we can't point the video there, we can at least we can tell people to go to a certain room, and then you can go spread the positive. You can esteem the other people on DLive, and you can speak kindly about HEX and about other people. Oh, thanks to the Joker. The Joker is hosting us too. Wow, that's nice of him. And so let's see. Do we know anybody on DLive who would be a good candidate for people going to check them out if you still have time to raid some?
DLive's mom is on, Maddie, if you want. She's a Joker's mom.
Oh yeah, she knows about HEX.
Yeah, she's a fun place to hang out. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Keep the chat relevant and going there, if you guys are looking for something to do. And it's Joker's mom, so I mean that's pretty awesome.
We're like the main thing on DLive right now, or is that just crypto?
I'm not sure.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, wow, it is the main thing. All right, keep it going. Another 2 hours. Here we go.
Okay, all right, just kidding. We're pulling a Richard. Ha ha ha.
Thank you, Maddie. It's been a great night. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to trying everything out.
I'll drop the link here to DLive's mom.
Oh, okay. I did on.
Did you already do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll put it maybe on YouTube.
Cool.
Let's see.
Yeah, and don't forget tomorrow night. It's going to be the Friday night hangout on Discourse. I'm hoping to maybe get something together between Hexo and Discourse to see if I can do a show about recovery based off my 12 steps. So if I can pull everything together by tomorrow night, I'll let everyone know on Twitter. I just kind of like to do something where, it's like I just said, my 12-step program, but it's within the HEX community. And, if you're uncomfortable coming on, I'd like to invite some guests on maybe after the first show. The first show, I just do like a little bit about my experience and what I plan what the show will be like. And then the second show, have some guests. And if, you're uncomfortable being on screen, I don't think that there'd be a problem with one of the screens not showing your face. So, we're going to try to bring some honesty and show service, community, and recovery through experience, strength, and hope, and to benefit the HEX community mentally, physically, spiritually. Complement, what Maddie Allen's doing with HEX therapy, and gracious enough to include me. I'd love to be able to give back in the same manner that Maddie does. And my expertise is, like Maddie spent 11,000 hours in counseling as a substance abuse counselor. I don't know how many thousands of hours I've spent on the other end. So between my 12-step programs, group therapies, individual therapy, I am very well versed in all of it. So I'm looking forward to try to give back in what I know best. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Maddie. We'll do this again next week.
Thank you guys. And thank you all for your tips and donations. And we're ready to sign off here. So everybody have a good night. Have a good week. We'll see you in the other HEX streams. Take care. Stake wisely, my friends.
That's right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Maddie.
Good night.